Okay, for the base of this cocktail, we are just gonna make a simple matcha syrup. You're gonna need just 3 ingredients for that. You're going to need some matcha powder. This is just a very generic matcha powder. This says matcha ayame. So it's not necessarily a super expensive matcha. You can probably find these just about anywhere. Go by Sunrise or any Japanese or Asian supermarket will probably have it. And I tend to prefer to use Japanese sugar. My reason being, Japanese sugar, in my opinion, has more, I shouldn't say sweetness to it, but it seems to have more flavor to it. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's not as refined as the typical sugars we get here in the States, but also it's not strong like a brown sugar. So it works out really, really good for me. And of course, we're gonna need some boiling water. So I boiled this up here. For tools, you're gonna need a bowl, a whisk of some sort, and a strainer. The strainer, I recommend something as fine as you can get. If you have like a little tea strainer, that will work just fine. So, and you also need something to measure with. It doesn't have to be super accurate. One cool thing that I've loved about Japanese cuisine, a lot of things is ratios. So we have like ni ichi or san ni ichi, or like these different ratios. So you have 2 to 1, 2-1-1, 3-1-1, or 3-2-1. All these different ratios for making different kind of things. A lot of times, you'll use similar ingredients. You use dashi, you use mirin, you use sake, and you use soy sauce or miso. And then the ratios are generally broken into, instead of, oh, how many teaspoons of this or how many ounces of this, often they will break it down into ratios, which I absolutely love because it makes things super, super easy. So we are going to start this recipe up with a little matcha powder. Do be careful, matcha is very, very, very messy. So we are going to get 1 part matcha. And basically what we're going to do is we are going to use this strainer, and we are going to run it through that, and we're basically just getting rid of any lumps that might be in the matcha. We're basically making this really fine powder that you can see here. It just makes it so much easier when we are blending in the water. You can see the clumps here. Those clumps, you want to break them up as much as possible, and we'll get that in there. And you will get dust all over the place, so don't worry about that. And then we are going to take sugar. Again, this is using the Japanese sugar here. And we are going to take, I prefer 1-to-1, but the actual recipe is 2-to-1. So we're going to take 2 parts of sugar. So now we're going to take 2 parts water, and this will make a very heavy syrup. Also might be a little bit bitter for some people, and that's okay. You can just add more sugar to it. So then you're just going to slowly kind of just gently mix it about. And you're just trying to get that matcha and sugar to dissolve in the hot water. The hotter the water, the better. But if you can get it as close to boiling as possible, or who am I kidding? You can boil water. It's not hard to boil water. Just boil the darn water. So we'll get this all mixed together. And if you allow there to get air in there, it will help the matcha open up as well. So that will help kind of get some flavor in there as well. You know how when you're making tea, you kind of dip the bag and it kind of aerates and you get more deeper flavor. Same thing with the matcha. You want to get a little bit of air in there. Now, again, it is a syrup. You're not going to get perhaps the same depth as if you're making fresh. And this will last a while. This will usually last, I would say, a couple weeks at least. And that's it there. And then you can take a vessel. Preferably don't splash yourself with boiling hot water. Again, you do not have to do this, but I generally recommend running it through a fine strainer. This, again, just to make sure there's no lumps in there. I've made sure that there's not really any lumps in here, not that I see. It's hard to tell with the frothing, but we're just going to run this through here. Nigai. Whew. Definitely bitter. And there you have it, a very simple matcha syrup. Now, I would recommend waiting for this to completely cool, throw it in the fridge. You can put it in a squirt bottle or a little jar, and then it's ready to use for cocktails. Now, let's take this and make some drinks out of it. Okay, so we're gonna make a couple cocktails here. I've got 4 glasses. We'll make 1 non-alcoholic, and then we'll make kind of some alcoholic versions as well. I'm gonna rely on some of our partners here. So MIO, of course. I have Takara Gin, and then also Asahi. Asahi's always been very good to us, and it's a phenomenal light beer, kind of a German style lager, which will go great with this. So we're gonna start with a little bit of that matcha syrup we made. So we are going to add half an ounce of that into our flute. Then we're gonna add, depending on how much alcohol you want in there, I'm going to go with 1 ounce of Takara Gin. So this is a Shochu. And then we are going to then top it off with MIO sparkling sake. Whoops. Oh, that's really, really good. Really good. Oh, you guys have to try that. That is so delicious. That is insane. And so simple too. It is definitely bitter. You definitely get the bitter matcha. So your options there, if you want to kind of tone it down a little bit, either go with, let's say you could add more sugar to the base, or go with less base. You know, I put half an ounce in there. You could go with a 1/4 ounce if you want just a subtle kind of matcha notes on there. I like the punch of the matcha. It really hits you, and it's grassy, it's delicious, just absolutely delicious. So the next one, let's make a non-alcoholic one. And then we're gonna kind of do the same thing. So again, all of these you can kind of tweak with and adjust. If you want it sweeter, you want it, you know, less matcha forward, you can definitely do that. Perhaps I should clean up after myself. I'm just a messy, messy slob here. All right, for the non-alcoholic, let's start with half an ounce. Again, I tend to like that half an ounce is a good balance, especially when you're looking at approximately 6 ounces of liquid. I feel that's a good bet. So we'll go there. Get some ice and some sparkling water. If you wanted to really add a little twist to it, you can always get like a yuzu sparkling water or maybe a yuzu soda, something like that, and it'll just add a really nice grassy green tone to it. This one I actually might prefer just a little more sweetness to there because what I added was just club soda. It's a little bitter. There's no real sweetness to it, but as a refreshing summer drink, phenomenal. Give it a try. Okay, let's move on to the next. So Chuhai. For this one, I am going to actually switch it up a little bit. So we are going to add the half ounce of matcha syrup. Right, we're gonna hit that in a 16-ounce jug, or mug. We're going to add 1 ounce of Takara Gin. Or actually, let's have some fun and let's make it 2 ounces of Takara Gin. And just to spice it up, I'm gonna get a little yuzu juice here, and I'm gonna throw in just a 1/4 ounce there, just to brighten it up a little bit. Okay, we got that there. Get some ice. Throw in a straw. Top it up with club soda. So this would basically be the alcoholic version of this. I threw in the matcha just because, I threw in the yuzu just because I felt it would be nice to have a little bit of citrusness to it. Again, ooh, yeah. That little hint of citrus does it very well. Still, again, on these, just a little more sugar might be good. Now, this last one is one that I just absolutely love. So we're gonna take half an ounce of matcha syrup. We're gonna pour it in our mug there. Now you're gonna take your Asahi, or you could use any lager on this one. You wanna do something light. One thing you're gonna wanna watch out for is it does fizz up quite a bit, and that head is very heavy. So while you do want it to mix in, you wanna pour it nice and soft. And sure, you're adding a little bit of sugar to the beer, but you're really not gonna notice the difference. Now you have a beautiful green beer. Now in this one, you're really gonna notice a difference with the different quality of matcha you use. The higher quality the matcha you use, the better it's gonna taste. Of course, that's gonna be across the board, but especially with the beer, I've found using a higher grade matcha makes a huge difference. Trying to use, I generally recommend second growth. First growth tends to be a little bit too much umami forward, too much like, I don't know, seaweed. Whereas you get the second growth, you got more of the grassy notes to it, and it's a good balance. Yeah. Oh, that's delicious. I tell you, that is the perfect matcha beer. Well, hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you try these at home. Hope you like them. And don't forget, come on down to here to Jiraku and mention the code competition and you will get a free drink. Remember, comment below, like, and if you haven't subscribed, of course, subscribe to us. I don't upload to YouTube very often, but I'm trying to do better, so subscribe. Let us know what cocktail you would like to get for free when you come to Jiraku. Also, let us know what you thought of this drink right here. Thank you again. Catch you on the flip side.